Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am Bricker Boom, and it's time for another Tier List Tuesday. Now, in this particular tier list, we're going to be covering The Walking Dead character deaths, from an S of it being very impactful, very good for the TV show, very sad, etc., all the way down to D of it was an okay death, but that character wasn't particularly important, they didn't do a whole lot, and then finally, happy they're zombie food, because we can all think of some characters that were alive maybe a little bit too long or did some especially heinous things. And yeah, I think this will be a lot of fun. Spoiler alert, I have not seen the last season, but I still know the deaths. Spoiler alert number 2 is some of the names of these people I don't remember. And then spoiler alert 3 is just a general spoiler alert because we're going to be covering deaths. So if you haven't been watching or you haven't watched for a long time, now is a good time to go ahead and turn away. So first and foremost, we have Andrea's sister, Amy. I kind of like the whole thing that happened when they were taking camp and all of these walkers came in. It was actually a pretty good death. However, it wasn't something that impacted the show all of that much. It was good potential development for Andrea. However, Same with Jim. Honestly, I wish that Jim would have had a little bit more time to actually become a character, because for whatever reason, and I don't know why, there is no literal rhyme or reason to this, I actually enjoyed his character quite a bit, despite the brief interaction that we got with him. I'm gonna skip him because I'm not 100% sure who he is. I may skip around a little bit here and there. He wasn't important. We get like 1 or 2 scenes with him and then he's dead. He came from Woodbury by the looks of things, and he wasn't a super important character. He was the governor's right-hand man at one point or another. I'm gonna give him a B because I feel like if he were the one that had been in charge during that time, they would not have gone back to the prison. They seemed to be somewhat okay living the way that they were. I don't think he had any goals or anything like that. He just wanted to survive. Next up we have, I don't even remember his name. All I know is the line, "We want what you got, asshole." I hate him. I was happy to see that he died. He was an annoying character, and he was under the governor's boot. Again, it was a character that did not really have too much of an impact on things. She gave the governor, I feel, a reason to survive, but not much beyond that. Herschel. Also, rest in peace, Scott Wilson. He's definitely going to be an S tier. The thing is, with the governor, with Herschel, I should say, he was very much the moral compass of the group. He was letting Rick know that there was essentially life beyond just fighting for the sake of fighting. I loved and adored his character. Also, the lines of Spaghetti Tuesdays, and my favorite line of the Lord always said that their man would walk again or rise again, but I don't think this is what he had in mind. I loved his delivery on that. He was a truly talented actor, and he played this part really well, but it was a very meaningful and memorable death, and I sobbed. The governor, I was very happy to see him go. However, one thing I will say is that the reason that he's not an S tier is honestly because I did not like the fact that he was long. The reason that he's an A tier and not an S tier is I did not like the fact that he was around as long as he was. I feel like there, especially towards the end, I was just ready to be done with the governor arc. We'd already seen him mentally snap, come back, and everything else. It was a lot. This is Mika, I believe. Honestly, I did not really care for the twins all that much. Now, I will say that Lizzie's death definitely meant more than Mika's, but Mika, she even died off screen. We just know that Lizzie killed her, and that's really about it. This guy, the leader of the Claimers, as I think they were the name. Honestly, I'm gonna give him a B tier simply because his death was really cool. He's bear hugging Rick, thinks that he's got him in the right place, and then Rick just takes a big old chunk out of his neck. Phenomenal death. This guy, happy to see him go. The fact that that whole scene, first of all, with him, hella uncomfortable. Rick being the badass he was, really cool. I think he was the prison guy. I'm gonna skip him for right now, because Bob. Bob is a B tier. And I do want to point out, I'm not putting these in any particular order inside the tier unless I feel a certain kind of way about it. But the problem that I have with Bob is that the tainted meat scene, I feel, was kind of the coolest part that he had. I don't know, like, he didn't really strike me as a character meant to live, if that makes sense, and it's kind of mean. But he was a good character, I will give him that. Like, he did survive through the virus and everything else that was overtaking the prison. He did have a little drinky problem, but yeah. Alright, Garth. I think his name is Garth. I'm going to actually put him into B tier as well, simply because he was the leader of Terminus. We do get to see his backstory, which I guess is supposed to make us feel sorry for him. I never really felt bad for him. I thought that his whole convo with Rick was just really cool. The officer at the hospital, I'm happy to see her go. Honestly, the hospital arc was very slow, very drawn out. The fact that she died, that's fine. Beth, I'm gonna be honest, and this is where I feel like I'm gonna lose a lot of y'all. I very much disliked Beth's character. I feel like they could have done a lot more with her, and they just didn't. And honestly, D tier. Top of D tier because she was definitely a main character, but they could have done so much more with her. Like, the whole, her contemplating killing herself with the glass shards and everything else was probably the coolest arc that she had, and it was okay. Tyrese, my boy, bottom of C tier, simply just due to the fact that I feel like the way that he died was very lazy, and I did not like it. It was him getting distracted and getting bit. I thought that that was just poor writing, personally. I liked Tyrese, and it was wasted opportunity with his death. Noah! Noah's gonna be an S tier death. Now, unfortunately, he did not get as much character development as I would have liked. However, the way that he died was absolutely brutal, very cool looking, but poor Glenn. That's another reason why. It kind of solidified Glenn's place in the sanctuary that they were at. Next up, we have the mayor's husband. I know this is... Hear me out here, y'all. Both the mayor's husband and Pete are getting an A tier simply just due to the fact that their deaths were finally what the people of Alexandria needed to understand that the danger is both within and without. Outside. Within. It was enough for them to finally understand that there was both dangers in and outside of the walls. That's why they're getting an A-tier death. Pete was a garbage person, and anybody that beats up on their wife, you're a trash person, but their deaths were very, very impactful and very good. It was a good way for the show to move on, and it was a great season finale. This guy here, I can't remember his name. We're just gonna call him Garfunkel. I understand his whole conflict with Glenn. I thought that was a halfway decent arc. However, the problem with his death is that it's tied to the Glenn fake-out death that everybody, including myself, hated. So, it's also not the most impactful death either. Honestly, I was kind of happy to see him go, but he's not so trash tier that he belongs down here, if that makes sense. Lori. Lori, I'm gonna give the upper end of B tier. Her death was meaningful, but here's the problem, is just the fact that it overshadowed T-Dog's death. And I don't even think T-Dog is on this tier list. I didn't look at it beforehand very much, but okay, he's down there. But the problem is that it was happening at the same time that everything just went to absolute hell in a handbasket. Best way I could say that without getting demonetized in the future. Axel. I was actually really sad to see Axel go. Aside from his one creepy moment, with Beth, overall, I think that he had a lot of potential as a character. It was nice seeing him start to bond with Carol. At the end of the day, he is definitely just a prisoner that they kind of ran into. He was much better than his comic book counterpart, Axel, but I really enjoyed the banner that he had with Carol. Next up is Sam. Now, Sam is the whiniest character that has ever been introduced to The Walking Dead. That being said, it's Carol's fault, partially because she decided to go ahead, because she was doing things that she shouldn't be, terrify this child. Because of that, I'm going to put him into the D tier. I was happy to see him go. However, everything that occurred was not necessarily his fault. It was definitely partly the person that he was with. This is Sam's brother. I think Henry was his name. That sounds right. The only reason that he's gonna be in a tier above his brother, and he's still at the bottom of that, is simply due to the fact that he's the one that shot Carl's eye out. That whole death scene was very, very good. Also, sorry if the video is kind of cutting in random places. I do own, and I guess this is a good segue, but I do own a Discord server. Make sure to join if you want to keep up with more videos, and also my Twitch schedule. A little bit of a tire fire going on there right now, but I'm trying to manage that while also recording. I'm gonna cut it up as best as I can, but if you notice some kind of weird pauses and jumps, that's why. Denise is next up, and honestly, I'm gonna put her bottom of B tier at absolute best. I mean, she had a relationship with Tara, she was a doctor and everything else, so she did have a little bit of character development here and there. The problem is that it was kind of a writing on the wall situation, and in a way you can kind of tell with Noah, if these side characters ever get an episode that centers around them, there is a 90% chance that they are going to be dead by the end of it. Abraham, honestly, and this is what upsets me the most about his, is that everybody was so focused on Glenn's death, is that they kind of seem to sweep Abraham's death under the rug. I think both of them do deserve an S tier, and here is why. Rick was very cocky during the season because they hadn't really suffered a great loss of any kind for a very long time. When Simon is talking about trying to make a deal with them, Rick is saying things like, oh, I was thinking that I could make a deal and not have to kill you any more of you. And while that's an amazing line and an amazing delivery by Andrew Lincoln, these deaths were very much needed to put him into place. Next up is Olivia, and honestly, D tier. she did not have very many speaking roles in this. The best part about her was the fact that she slapped Negan, and because of that, I will go ahead and move her up towards the top. She just didn't do much. It was Next up, we have Spencer. And Spencer, in all honesty, kind of backstabby, but a pretty good death overall. One, it gives Negan the line of "you ain't got no guts," which is pretty cool. And then on top of that as well, it's very much I think it continues to wake up the people of Alexandria, showing, oh, this is happening now. And I just thought that it was very well placed, very well done. Mostly, though, I'm giving it the merit just because of the Negan line. I thought it was really good. Can't remember his name. But, I'm going to give him... Also, you're going to be noticing a majority of characters are going to fall into B and C tier, simply because that is honestly the nature of tier lists. A lot of people just kind of fall in the middle of the pack, and I want it to be known that just because they're there doesn't mean I hate them. Also, while I have your attention, did you know the people who subscribe to this YouTube video are immediately placed into the S tier? If you thought, make sure to subscribe. I do not remember this kid's name. I know that his death was important. I'm gonna put it up here, simply just due to the fact that I feel like it's kind of what made Morgan realize that not everything is gonna be able to get solved peacefully, and I think that's pretty important. I feel bad that I can't remember his name, but again, he started getting character development and attention to him in an episode, and then guess what? He died shortly afterwards. Sasha. Now, the problem... I'm gonna put Sasha at the top of C tier, simply because I feel like Sasha was very much on a downward spiral after the prison arc. And honestly, it's not fair to her, but they didn't do much with her after a while. They just kind of let things fall off to the side, and that's not okay. The fact that she jumped out of the casket to Negan was really cool. The problem that I have with this is that she didn't know he was going to be the one to open it. It very much could have been Rick or anybody else, but Negan, being his showboating self, was the one to go ahead and open it. It was a cool death in concept, and it certainly played out that way, but only because of plot armor. Morales, I think is his name. Honestly, D tier, bottom of D tier, because here's the thing, you disappeared for essentially, let's see, you disappeared during Season 1, came back, I think it was Season 7, 6, somewhere around in there, and it just, Random, well, not random, I can't remember his name. Honestly, again, I wish they would have done more with him. I'm gonna put him at the top of D tier, because he did certainly do some stuff, but again, the writing is what detracted from what could have been a great character. He got shot at the shootout at Woodbury, and it's just unfortunate. I'm 90% sure this is Tomas, so I'm gonna go ahead and put him in Zombie Bait. I still don't know who this kid is, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put him in Zombie Bait. If you know who he is, let me know. Once I have a name, I can always place him somewhere else, but I don't think that's Henry, because Henry died on the sticks. Coral. This death upset me to no end, because it was possibly the laziest, most infuriating way to kill off a character that has survived as long as he has. However, it was impactful to the story. It is the only reason that Rick left Negan alive. I hate how it happened, but because it's so detrimental, that is the only reason it is not into D tier. The Doctor. Bottom of C tier. Like, he didn't do much. He had one episode with Gabriel, and again, he had an episode of Gabriel, so that's how we knew that he was going to be dying very soon. It's a problem because they keep doing this kind of thing, but it is what it is. He did have a pretty decent death overall, so, he went out trying to be a badass. Next up, we have this guy, whose name I cannot remember. All I know is that I hate him, and I was very happy to see him die. He stuck around for far too long, simply just due to the fact that Morgan would not metaphorically pull the trigger. Simon, great death. I like the fact that this... Honestly, I liked Simon's character. Of the generals that Negan had, I kind of like Simon the best. He was a very good actor, and the thing is, the reason that I like this death is because it showed Negan's society kind of starting to break down from within. I thought that it was very well done. Let's see. We have Eric's boyfriend, and the reason that he's going into C is because that is all he is Eric's boyfriend. It was a very sweet death. It was very hard on Eric, but Now, the reason that I'm putting him into D tier, partly because I can't remember his name, he did have a few moments that were kind of pretty okay, but the thing is, they seem to have been setting up Henry's role to go into Carl's role from the comics to the TV show, but they never really branched out upon that because they ended up killing Henry off not too many seasons later, so I feel like overall, this death was kind of useless, to be honest. Gregory. Again, very happy to see him go. I'm gonna put him into B tier. I was actually... The problem is that he was very much a flip-flopping person, and he very quickly outlived his usefulness for that. So, while I was very happy to see him go, I understand why he was around as long as he was. It made sense. The only issue is that I feel like, in regards to the TV show, his death really didn't have that much of an impact. They hung him, Henry saw, and I think that was about it. I don't know who this is, so he's gonna go here. If I don't know who you are, I'm happy you're zombie food. I'm sorry. Jesus! Jesus is gonna go at the top of C tier. Jesus was a very good character. He would be higher, if not for the simple fact that the way that he died was very, very lame. They took him out because he apparently got caught off guard by a whisperer pretending to be a zombie. Somebody with his reflexes and fighting skills, that should not have happened. They did not do enough with his character, and it makes me upset to this day. And while I was saying that, I noticed that he's in here twice. I am doubly happy that you're done. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I have a lot of trouble recognizing all of the people that are put on the pike. So, the one that I can recognize is Enid. Enid, I was happy that they were finally giving her a character, and I am very, very sad that that did not amount to anything at the end, because, again, they ended up killing her off. Tara was great. The only issue that I have with Tara's death is that, and if I'm mixing these up, I apologize. I'm doing the best I can with these heads here, but they're staring at me, and it's a problem. The problem that I have with the head pike scene in general, and most of these other deaths are actually all going to be going into the C tier, is that they did a fake out with the whole carnival thing, and I feel like most people were like, oh, thank God that it wasn't somebody else. But then they were like, oh no, it's Tara and her friends. And also, the fact that they killed the highwayman is also another problem that I have issues with, because here's the thing. The highwaymen were actually pretty dang cool, and they could have done so much with their character, but they were killed off so fast. This is the prisoner that got bit, and they immediately killed him because Tomas was out of his mind. He's going into D tier. He did not even live long enough to really provide that much of a character. He got bit almost immediately. I can't remember his name. I'm gonna see if it comes back to me as we're doing this. So, Sadiq. Honestly, I have mixed emotions about Sadiq overall. He is gonna go in the bottom of... Actually, no, I'm gonna put him at the top of B tier. The reason that he's not higher is, one, because it seems kind of a punch in the face of Carl's death, that Carl died to save this man, and then he's dead a couple seasons later. Two, his death was so drawn out with all the hallucinations, flashbacks, and everything else. It was honestly kind of okay, in my book, seeing him go, simply so I did not have to watch anymore. This was the guy that killed him, and then died shortly after, because apparently I can't talk. I'm gonna go ahead and put him into D. It was a cool reveal that, you know, whispers are on the inside, but other than that, it was okay. Tomas, happy to see him go, but he didn't really serve to the story. The prisoners, I feel, already knew that Rick wasn't going to be messing around, judging by the way that he carried himself, the way he talked. This, I guess, solidified it, but it didn't really do much. Lori, again, unless this isn't Lori, but I'm pretty sure it's Lori. Same thing, still in B tier, but because it's in there twice, you're gonna go ahead and be a zombie food. Merle. Merle deserves a high B tier, partly because of the fact that that is the last of the family chapter closing with Daryl. He no longer has to worry about his family. Merle did also kind of redeem himself there towards the end, letting Michonne go and being that baller. And just, I still don't think he should have beat the governor in a fist fight, but the fact that he went out swinging says a lot. Philip. I'm gonna go ahead and give him C tier. Right around there. His death was important and impactful, but only because of the fact that he killed Andrea. And because of that, I'm gonna put Andrea right there as well. The problem with Andrea is that they consistently had her character making bad choice after bad choice. In the comics, Andrea is incredible. In the TV show, Andrea is not so incredible. Jackie, I think her name is, I'm gonna put in the bottom of the D tier. Simply just due to the fact that she went out on her own terms, which is kind of cool, but that was about it. She was just kind of another character, and I think this is the problem with the Season 1 of The Walking Dead, is that they just had a lot of characters that were much ado about nothing. They didn't really have anything going on that was special or made them different. They were just kind of there to fill a slot. Shane. Immediate S tier. Once you get into the S tier, it really doesn't matter what spot you have, but Shane is a definite S tier simply just due to the fact that he was the reason that the group, I feel, finally started listening to Rick as much as they did. He and Rick butted heads. Like, there was a lot of really cool things about his death. It was also what revealed to us as viewers and solidified, if you die, you still come back. You don't have to be bit. No matter what, if you die, you come back. T-Dog. Top of C tier. And here's why. T-Dog, again, his death was overshadowed so much by Lori. It's a problem. They didn't do much with him. Like, he cut himself on the RV in Season 2, and, like, they patched him up, and he had a couple one-liners here and there. They did not do enough with his character, in my opinion. So when he died, that was the coolest moment that he had had throughout the entire show. I can't see who this is. I want to say it's one of the governor's people, so zombie food. Sorry, I can't see your face. That doesn't help me know who you are. Ed, because I see you now, zombie food. I'm glad you're gone. You're a jerk. Pretty sure you're the person that the governor was hooking up with? D tier, you were not that important. Your kid was more important than you are. Lizzie, look at the flowers. You're going into the C tier simply because it was the reason that it is not higher on the list. Lizzie is a very interesting character and a very well-written character, and there are a lot of things that I like about her character. However, the problem was, at this point, we have already seen Carol do the whole being a mother and losing a child, and they just keep repeating it. This is the second instance of that. That is the only reason that it is not higher. I can't remember her name. All I know is that it was the person that Rick was sleeping with in Alexandria. I'm gonna give her a higher rating than her children because she was actually important at one point or another. This was the guy that did the thing that set up the delivery being short and Morgan beat the heckles out of him. Very one-dimensional character. Honestly, I do not think that he was that important. And, it's okay. He didn't do a whole heck of a lot. You're going into C tier automatically? Or wait, are you Tara? Yeah, you're Tara, but you're also Tara, unless you're supposed to be Henry. You're both gonna stay there for right now. Because Henry, same thing. I'm gonna go ahead and cover Henry because I don't know if he's anywhere else on the list. I still don't know who this is, so you're just gonna go ahead and go there. Henry... Wait, is this Henry? Is that Henry? I don't know. The problem with Henry is that, again, they did not expand on his character the way that they were supposed to. They gave him a lot of different openings that made it look like he was going to take over Carl's storyline to a degree, but then he never did. And then he ended up dying a few seasons later. Yeah, it was cool that he had his moment with the Alpha and everything else, but for the most part, he was kind of useless. He didn't do much. He was whiny. He didn't listen to orders. This person, I can't remember her name. All I know is that she was with the Saviors, and I want to say she was one that got killed with, a rot. I actually kind of liked her. I feel like she was one of the Saviors that was actually kind of okay with having to turn over a new leaf. And I feel like she just got killed to progress the story along. And not even in a very good way. I can't tell who this is, given the positioning. If it is Henry, we've already went why he's a C tier. If it's somebody else, correct me in the comments. Dale is another S tier, simply because at the time of his death, and at the time of the TV show, he was very much the moral compass of the group. And seeing him go kind of hurt. Not gonna lie, his death, I blamed Carl for so long about his death, it is insane, but just seeing his character go, and I know why it happened outside of the show, it hurt. This is one of Hershel's boys, didn't do much, same with his wife, these people just kind of filled a slot, they didn't actually do anything that made them extra important, same with her, I can't even remember. This is the same person that we covered earlier, so because you're in there twice, I'm glad that you're a zombie. Otis. Top of A tier, because Otis was one of the only characters, I feel, that we ever see that actually wants to take responsibility for their actions. Most other characters, they just go, it happened. I'm gonna go ahead and move on. Otis was like, okay, I accidentally shot this boy. We need to go ahead and get him some medicine immediately. I really liked his character. The only reason that he's not an S is because he didn't get more screen time. We're getting into the final few characters here. Dr. Jenner. Now, hear me out. Okay, apparently Mika or Lizzie does not want to move from her spot, but the reason that Dr. Jenner is getting so high on this list, and let's be honest, he shouldn't be, but let's be honest, yes, he should, is that he was the one that told Rick, one, that when anybody dies, they become infected. 2, he went out in a blaze of glory. And 3, the whole "a day will come where you won't be," and then switch to season 7, episode 1. It was so good for his character. And yeah, he only lived for an episode and a few minutes in another episode, but for the most part, like, it was actually a pretty impactful thing, at least within the group. The mayor. I'm gonna go B tier because she really did try. She very much tried to keep Alexandria running, and had she not sent out the one guy whose name I cannot remember right now on the scouting mission to pick up Rick and the others and, like, judge their character, this whole thing would never have happened. She was actually a very important character, and her death, I feel she went out in a very cool way. I wish that we would have got a little bit more of seeing her alive and seeing her realize what the New World Order was like, but for the most part, I thought it was a pretty solid character. Alpha. Okay, so here's the thing. I am very glad that Alpha died. If I could happily put her in the Happy There's Zombie Food tier, I would. But as you can see, those are more for people that just were very short villains and didn't really do much. Alpha did a lot. Alpha was an absolute terror. And do you want to know the reason why I can't confidently put her into S? It is simply because of her voice. She does not strike terror in me in any way, shape, or form. Beta, on the other hand, I would probably put into S tier simply because of the way he died and the fact that he is a towering figure. Alpha, and also the whole thing with her and Negan, that's another reason why I'm not comfortable with it, so yeah, she's an A tier, deal with it. This is the person that Carol was hooking up with, D tier. He did not really do much. He was just kind of there for Carol as a booty call, it seemed. And I don't even know if it ever went that far. And then finally, the last on the list, Sophia. I'm gonna put into B tier because seeing her walk out of the barn solidified a couple things, actually. One, children in this show, whether or not they've been a character on here or not, are not safe. 2, Sophia is dead and there is nothing that they can do about it. And 3, it was a very monumental moment seeing Rick have to be the one to step up to put her down. But that is all of the characters in The Walking Dead. I know that this video is going to be a little bit longer. I'm going to try to trim it down at least a little bit to make it somewhat watchable for everybody. But if you've made it this far, you're incredible. If there are other TV shows like Supernatural, Criminal Minds, Dexter, whatever, that you would want me to do tier lists of, make sure to go ahead and let me know in the comments below. And also, while you're there, tell me who your least favorite The Walking Dead character is. We do a lot of favorites. I want to know who you hate, who you would put in this Happy They Are Zombie Food tier, whether or not they are a main character or not. I want to know. As always, if you like the video, even if you didn't like the video, think about hitting that thumbs up, think about hitting that subscribe button, because it really does help me out. And until next time, everybody, peace out.